Everyone, it's a true honor to stand before you today, speaking on something that I believe is one of the most transformative truths we can grasp. Let God's plan unfold in your life. Many of us, at some point or another, find ourselves wondering about the bigger picture, feeling stuck in our current circumstances or overwhelmed by the challenges ahead. And in those moments, it's easy to get caught up in a rush to control every outcome. But what if I told you that the greatest freedom you can experience lies in surrendering to the flow of something far bigger than your individual will? Imagine for a moment that life is like a river. We can try to swim against the current, force our way through, and fight for every inch of ground. But eventually, we exhaust ourselves. Or we can learn to surrender to the current, trust the path it takes us on, and flow with it, knowing that the river has its own purpose and that we are exactly where we need to be. This is what happens when we allow God's plan to unfold in our lives. It's not about passivity. It's about alignment. It's about shifting our mindset from one of control to one of trust and cooperation with the divine flow of life. In doing so, we begin to align ourselves with the wisdom, power, and grace of a higher order. I know that surrendering to God's plan can be difficult. We live in a world that glorifies instant results, constant action, and the idea that we must always be striving. But what if the greatest achievement isn't in what we do, but in how we respond to the unfolding of life? To let God's plan unfold, we must first learn to quiet the noise of doubt, fear, and worry that often cloud our minds. The world tells us that we are solely responsible for shaping our future, that our success or failure rests entirely on our own shoulders. But in reality, when we let go of the need to control every detail, we open ourselves to the possibility that there's something greater at work, something beyond our limited understanding. This doesn't mean we become passive observers of our own lives. Quite the opposite, in fact. When we align with God's plan, we become empowered in ways we cannot yet comprehend. There's an intelligence in the universe, an organizing force that is constantly working on our behalf, shaping our experiences, and guiding us toward growth. But this requires us to step into a place of deep inner stillness and trust. Trust that even when we don't understand the path, we are on the right one. There's a profound truth here. We are not alone. The challenges you face today, the doubts you carry, and the struggles you endure are not just random events. They are part of a larger tapestry, intricately woven together by a divine intelligence. And even when things seem unclear or difficult, God is orchestrating something magnificent. Every setback is an opportunity to step deeper into trust. Every obstacle is an invitation to align with your higher purpose. Each moment of uncertainty is a chance to release the need to control, and instead to trust in the plan that is unfolding. When you let God's plan unfold, you are no longer bogged down by the need to figure everything out. You become an active participant in your own transformation, not because you force it, but because you allow it. And the more you allow, the more miraculous your life becomes. You begin to realize that the moments you thought were mistakes, the turns you thought were missteps, we're all part of a greater design that is guiding you exactly where you need to be. So today, I invite you to let go. Let go of the fear, the doubt, and the constant need for control. Trust in the divine timing of your life, knowing that everything is unfolding perfectly for you. Let God's plan unfold in your life, not just in the grand moments, but in the small, seemingly insignificant ones too. It's in the quiet moments of surrender, the moments of stillness, that God's plan can truly take root and manifest. Remember, life is not about striving to force an outcome. It's about stepping into a space of trust, allowing the divine intelligence of the universe to guide you. When you do that, you will find that everything you need will come to you at just the right moment. So take a deep breath, let go, and trust that God's plan is unfolding in your life in ways that are far beyond what you could ever imagine. Surrendering to the divine flow is a practice of releasing the need to control every aspect of your life. It's about stepping back and allowing something greater than yourself to guide you. Often we try to force things to happen, thinking that our effort is the only way to achieve success. We fight against the natural flow of events, becoming frustrated when things don't go as planned. But when we surrender, we stop fighting the current and allow life to carry us to where we need to go. Surrender is not about giving up. It's about acknowledging that we are not the sole architects of our destiny. It's the understanding that there is a larger, more intricate design at play, one that we might not always comprehend in the moment. When we release the need for control, we create space for the divine to intervene, guiding us toward the opportunities, lessons, and experiences we are meant to encounter. This process requires trust, a trust that what is unfolding, even if it seems uncomfortable or unfamiliar, is for our greater good. The divine flow doesn't always match our expectations, but it always meets our needs. It's in surrendering that we allow ourselves to grow, evolve, and expand in ways we never could if we were to constantly push and force our will onto the world around us. When we allow ourselves to trust the flow of life, we begin to feel more at peace, knowing that we are not alone in this journey. The resistance we once felt begins to soften, and the anxiety we may have had about the future starts to fade. Surrendering to divine flow is an invitation to let life unfold naturally, trusting that every moment is part of a greater plan designed specifically for us. Trusting the process of unfolding is about recognizing that life doesn't always happen on our timeline. We often want immediate results, clear answers, and visible progress, but the universe doesn't operate according to our expectations. Trusting the process means understanding that everything is unfolding exactly as it needs to, even when we can't see it or don't fully understand it in the moment. This can be a challenging concept, especially when we face hardships or periods of uncertainty. However, the beauty of trust lies in letting go of the need for certainty and embracing the mystery of life's timing. When we trust the process, we accept that our journey is not linear. There may be detours, pauses, or unexpected changes, but these are all part of the unfolding. Sometimes we are led down a path that initially feels confusing or even discouraging, but these moments are often the most significant in helping us grow and evolve. Each step, no matter how uncertain, is laying the foundation for what comes next. We may not always see the connection in real time, but looking back, it becomes clear how the pieces of the puzzle fit together. Trusting the process also means recognizing that challenges are not obstacles, but opportunities for growth. It's easy to get discouraged when things aren't going as planned, but these are the moments that build our resilience, wisdom, and strength. We are being shaped by every experience, and it is in the patience of trust that we allow ourselves to learn, adapt, and prepare for what is to come. The process of unfolding is ongoing, and it requires us to be patient with ourselves and with life, knowing that every step is leading us to exactly where we need to be. Letting go of control and embracing alignment is one of the most profound shifts we can make in our lives. We are conditioned to believe that in order to succeed or achieve our desires, we must exert constant effort and control every detail of our lives. We plan, strategize, and push ourselves, thinking that we must always be in charge. But this mindset often leads to stress, burnout, and frustration when things don't go as expected. In truth, true power lies not in controlling every outcome, but in aligning ourselves with a higher flow, one that is greater than our individual will. When we embrace alignment, we stop trying to force things to happen and instead trust that the right circumstances will unfold in their own time. This is not to say that we become passive or inactive. Rather, it's about becoming in sync with the flow of life, allowing it to guide us toward what is meant for us. In this state of alignment, we let go of the need to micromanage our futures, knowing that life has a way of unfolding according to a plan that is often more expansive than anything we could have imagined. Alignment requires deep trust, trust in the timing, trust in the process, and trust in ourselves. It means surrendering the idea that we know better than the greater plan that is unfolding. This shift allows us to act from a place of peace rather than anxiety, knowing that when we align ourselves with the natural flow of life, we are more likely to attract the right opportunities and experiences. It is through alignment that we find true ease and fulfillment, for we are no longer struggling against the current but flowing with it, guided by a purpose greater than ourselves. Silencing doubt and fear to access divine wisdom is a transformative practice that requires consistent self-awareness and inner calm. Doubt and fear are natural emotions, often arising when we face the unknown or encounter challenges. These feelings are deeply ingrained in our survival instincts and can cloud our judgment, limiting our ability to trust in the divine wisdom available to us. However, when we allow doubt and fear to dominate our thoughts, we create a barrier between ourselves and the deeper guidance that is always present. In order to access divine wisdom, we must first recognize and acknowledge the presence of these negative emotions without allowing them to control us. Fear often arises from a sense of lack or the illusion that we are not enough, while doubt stems from questioning our own worth or the validity of our path. These emotions distort our perception, leading us to make decisions based on uncertainty rather than trust. To overcome this, we need to cultivate a mindset of inner stillness, quieting the constant chatter of the mind and allowing space for clarity and guidance. The practice of silencing doubt and fear doesn't mean suppressing these feelings, but rather observing them without attachment. Through practices like meditation, mindful breathing, or simply pausing to reflect, we can create the mental and emotional space necessary to hear the subtle messages that come from within. Divine wisdom often speaks in a still, quiet voice, one that is drowned out when we are consumed by fear and doubt. By learning to calm the noise of our fears, we open ourselves to the truth that is already within us. This allows us to move forward with a sense of confidence and purpose, knowing that the path we are on is divinely guided. Life is a journey, not a race. And often we lose sight of this when we become fixated on reaching specific milestones or achieving particular goals. In a world that constantly encourages us to strive for success, we can easily fall into the trap of measuring our worth based on how quickly we can move from one accomplishment to the next. But the truth is that the process of living, with all its ups and downs, is far more important than the destination we are trying to reach. When we view life as a journey, we begin to appreciate each step we take, no matter how small. Every experience, every challenge, and every moment of joy contributes to our growth and understanding. We stop rushing through life feeling as though we must hurry to achieve something. Instead, we embrace each phase with openness and curiosity. This shift in perspective allows us to move with purpose, but without the pressure of urgency. We begin to understand that life unfolds in its own time, and that we are not in competition with anyone else. The journey also teaches us patience. It shows us that things don't always happen according to our timeline, and that it's okay to not have everything figured out right away. In fact, sometimes the most beautiful and transformative experiences happen when we allow ourselves to slow down and simply be present. There is no need to constantly chase after the next goal or success. The richness of life is found in each moment, in the people we meet, the lessons we learn, and the growth we experience along the way. By embracing life as a journey, we free ourselves from the anxiety and stress that come with trying to control every outcome. Instead, we can live with greater peace, knowing that every step, no matter how seemingly insignificant, is a part of our unfolding path. Embracing uncertainty as part of God's plan is one of the most profound aspects of trusting in the divine process. In a world where we seek security and predictability, uncertainty can feel like an unsettling force that we must avoid or eliminate. We often find ourselves wanting clear answers, well-defined paths, and a sense of control over our futures. But what if uncertainty is not something to fear or resist, but rather something essential to our growth and transformation? When we learn to embrace uncertainty, we open ourselves to the possibility that God's plan may involve detours, changes, and surprises that we never expected, but that are ultimately for our highest good. Uncertainty is a natural part of life, and when we accept it, we begin to realize that it is in these moments of the unknown that we are most likely to experience profound growth. It's in the uncertain moments that we develop resilience, courage, and trust. We are forced to step out of our comfort zones, relinquish our need for control, and let go of the illusion that we can plan every aspect of our lives. In doing so, we create the space for God's plan to unfold more freely. knowing that it will lead us exactly where we need to go, even if we can't see the destination from where we stand. Accepting uncertainty doesn't mean resigning ourselves to passivity or indecision. Instead, it's about understanding that uncertainty is often a sign that something bigger is at work. When we embrace it, we align ourselves with the flow of life, trusting that God is guiding us, even when the way forward is unclear. In this space of uncertainty, we become more attuned to divine timing, learning that sometimes the most important moments happen when we let go of our expectations and trust in the unfolding process. Trusting that setbacks lead to growth is a powerful perspective shift that can transform how we approach challenges in our lives. When we experience setbacks, whether they are personal, professional, or spiritual, we often view them as failures or signs that we are off track. We may feel discouraged, frustrated, or even hopeless when things don't go as planned. However, the truth is that setbacks are often the moments where the most significant growth occurs. These moments, while uncomfortable, hold valuable lessons and opportunities for transformation. Setbacks push us out of our comfort zones and force us to reevaluate our goals, our actions, and our beliefs. They reveal the areas where we need to evolve, whether it's in our mindset, our skills, or our approach to life. In the face of adversity, we have the chance to discover new strengths we didn't know we had, develop resilience, and become more resourceful. What might initially seem like a roadblock can, in hindsight, turn out to be a crucial step in our journey. When we trust that setbacks lead to growth, we shift our mindset from one of defeat to one of empowerment. We begin to see challenges as opportunities to learn, adapt, and refine our path. Setbacks invite us to look inward, assess our own limitations, and expand beyond them. They teach us patience, perseverance, and humility, qualities that are essential for long-term success and personal development. Instead of allowing setbacks to derail us, we can view them as integral parts of the larger plan. They are the stepping stones that lead us toward greater wisdom, understanding, and ultimately, the fulfillment of our true potential. Each setback, when embraced, becomes a catalyst for deeper growth and a reminder that we are exactly where we need to be on our journey. Releasing the need for immediate results is one of the most liberating actions we can take on our journey of growth and personal development. In a world driven by instant gratification and fast-paced living, it is easy to fall into the trap of expecting quick answers, rapid success, or immediate reward. Social media, advertising, and even cultural norms have conditioned us to believe that things should happen right away, that we should see progress almost immediately. This pressure often creates anxiety and frustration when things don't unfold as quickly as we expect. However, life doesn't always work according to this timeline, and this is where the challenge lies. Releasing the need for instant results requires us to trust that things will unfold in their own time, even if we don't see the results right away. It's about shifting our focus from the outcome to the process, embracing the journey rather than fixating on the destination. The growth that happens over time, whether it's in our careers, relationships, or personal development, often takes longer than we expect. But it is much more meaningful and lasting when it is allowed to unfold naturally. When we let go of the need for immediate results, we free ourselves from unnecessary stress and open up the possibility for true transformation. We begin to realize that the most profound changes in our lives are often the slowest ones, requiring patience, persistence, and dedication. By allowing time for things to develop, we also create space for deeper learning and more sustainable success. The instant results we crave may bring short-term satisfaction, but they often lack the depth and richness that comes from long-term growth and gradual evolution. Trusting that things are unfolding at the right pace helps us to stay grounded and focused on the bigger picture. Being present and trusting in divine timing is an essential part of living a fulfilled and peaceful life. In a world that constantly pulls us in multiple directions, it's easy to become distracted by the past or anxious about the future. We often find ourselves either regretting decisions we made or worrying about what lies ahead, but this robs us of the power of the present moment. The present is where life happens, where all the energy, opportunities, and insights are available to us. To be truly present means to fully engage with the now, without being clouded by thoughts of what has been or what might come. When we trust in divine timing, we acknowledge that everything happens at the right moment, even if that moment doesn't align with our own sense of urgency. We may have plans, goals, and deadlines, but divine timing teaches us that there is a larger order in which events unfold. Sometimes what we think is a delay or a setback is actually a necessary part of the process, helping us prepare for what's to come. Trusting that things are happening in their own time and not forcing them to unfold according to our own schedule allows us to release resistance and find peace in the process. Being present with life means not only focusing on the task at hand, but also trusting that everything is falling into place in divine timing. When we live with this trust, we become more aware of the synchronicities, the little signs and nudges that guide us along the way. It's in these moments of presence that we connect more deeply with our true selves and with the divine guidance that is always available to us. By letting go of the need to rush ahead or control outcomes, we begin to live in harmony with the rhythm of life itself. Transformation happens through surrender, not struggle. In our fast-paced world, we often associate success and growth with hard work, effort, and pushing ourselves beyond our limits. While dedication and commitment are certainly important, true transformation comes not from forceful striving, but from a deeper, more subtle practice of surrender. This doesn't mean giving up or abandoning our goals, but rather letting go of the need to control every detail of the process and trusting in the natural unfolding of our lives. When we surrender, we acknowledge that we are not in charge of every outcome, and we allow space for something greater to guide us. It's about releasing the resistance that often keeps us stuck in a cycle of struggle and frustration. When we stop trying to force change, we begin to open ourselves to the flow of life. And in that flow, transformation can naturally take place. It is when we stop struggling against the current that we find ourselves moving forward with greater ease and purpose. Surrendering means accepting that the journey might not always look the way we expect. It involves having faith that the struggles and setbacks we face are not barriers to our success, but rather opportunities for growth. Each challenge is an invitation to learn something new about ourselves and to expand into a higher version of who we are meant to be. The more we trust the process and let go of our need to control, the more we allow our true potential to unfold. True transformation occurs when we stop fighting, let go of our attachments, and allow ourselves to evolve naturally. It's not about forcing change, but about being open to it, trusting that the process of life is always leading us exactly where we need to go.